Today, we're diving into a really frustrating automotive mystery. It's why your secondary air pump keeps failing. If you've ever had to replace one, only to have it die on you again a few months down the road, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's the thing, the real culprit is usually hiding in plain sight.
And this is the whole story right here. A small, simple, and often ignored part gives up the ghost, and it starts a domino effect that takes out a much, much more expensive component. If you can understand this relationship, you can fix the problem for good.
So let's actually start at the end of the story, with the big, expensive part that gets all the attention.
This right here, this is the crime scene. An air pump, or a smog pump that is just completely toast. You can see the corrosion, the damage. It's either seized up solid or it's shorted out electrically. You spend the money, you replace it, and then boom, a few months later, the brand new one looks exactly the same. So frustrating, right?
And this is the single most important question you can ask. The dead pump, well, that's the obvious symptom, but it is not the root cause. To find the real killer, we've got to look a little further up the line.
And that brings us to our number one suspect, a small but absolutely essential component that really acts as the gatekeeper for the whole system. This is the air pump check valve. Now take a look at where it lives in the system. It's sandwiched right between the air pump and the incredibly hot exhaust manifold. And that location is everything. It's the only line of defense protecting that electric air pump from the brutal, harsh environment of your engine's exhaust.
So what does it actually do? Well, think of it like a one-way street. When the air pump is on, it pushes this valve open, letting fresh air get into the exhaust. But the very second that pump turns off, this valve is designed to slam shut, blocking all of those hot, corrosive exhaust gases from flowing backward and getting into the pump.
What's pretty amazing is how simple this thing is. It's totally passive. There are no wires, no sensors, no commands from the engine computer telling it what to do. It's a purely mechanical part that opens when the air pump pressure is higher, and it snaps shut when the exhaust pressure is higher. That's it. A simple gatekeeper with a hugely important job.
Now, to really understand why this gatekeeper is so important, you have to understand the very specific, and I mean very short job that this whole system is designed to do. You see, this whole secondary air injection system only does its thing for about the first minute after you start your engine from cold. When an engine's cold, it runs rich, so there's a lot of unburned fuel going into the exhaust. The air pump kicks on, shoots a blast of fresh oxygen through that check valve, and it basically creates a little afterburner inside your exhaust. This secondary burn superheats the catalytic converter, getting it up to temperature in seconds instead of minutes.
And that really says it all. After that first minute or so, the cat is hot, the system shuts down, and that little check valve is supposed to stay sealed shut for the rest of your drive. It's a very short job, but it's absolutely vital for modern emissions control.
So, what happens when this simple little mechanical gate fails to do its one and only job? Well, the valve can fail in one of two ways. If it sticks closed, the air pump can't get any air into the exhaust. The car's computer will see that, it'll throw a check engine light, and you'll fail your emissions test. It's annoying for sure, but it's not destructive. The real killer is when that valve sticks open, because now you have a non-stop reverse flow of superheated exhaust gas and acidic moisture flowing directly back into your air pump. And this kicks off a deadly chain reaction for the air pump. The valve gets gunked up with carbon or warped by heat and it fails to seal. That hot, wet exhaust flows backwards, down the hose. And then all that moisture condenses inside the delicate electric pop, just eating away at the bearings and frying the electronics. Sooner or later, the pump either seizes up solid or the motor shorts out. You see, the pump didn't just fail, it was murdered.
Okay, so the check engine light pops on. How do you avoid blaming the victim, the air pump, and actually pinpoint the real culprit?
This is such a critical piece of advice. A trouble code, say a P0410 for secondary air system malfunction. It just tells you the system isn't working. It doesn't tell you why. It's pointing to the symptom, not the underlying disease.
The real clues, they're physical. You gotta look for them. Are the plastic air hoses near the check valve melted or burnt? That's a dead giveaway of exhaust backflow. Pop the hose off the valve. Is there black soot or moisture on the side that's supposed to be clean? When you start the car cold, does the pump sound like it's screaming for its life? These are the clues that point you directly to a failed check valve.
This is the question you have to keep asking yourself. The code is just the alarm bell. It's up to you to do the detective work and figure out if you're looking at the victim of the crime or the one who did it.
So, once you've identified the check valve as the bad guy, let's talk about the right way to fix this so it never, ever happens to you again.
And here's a real pro tip for you. If you have a V6 or a V8 engine, you've got 2 of these check valves, one for each cylinder bank. Now, if one of them has failed, you can bet the other one has seen the exact same number of heat cycles, the same amount of stress. It's right on the edge of failing too. Do yourself a huge favor and replace them both at the same time. You'll save yourself from doing the same job twice.
And really, the money side of this is just undeniable. A check valve is a pretty inexpensive part. An air pump, on the other hand, can run you hundreds, sometimes even over $1,000. Replacing the valve as a preventative measure saves you a massive repair bill down the road. Ignoring it pretty much guarantees that big bill is coming.
When you get right down to it, this is what it all boils down to. A cheap valve prevents an incredibly expensive mistake. So what's the big takeaway here? If you're on your second or third air pump, stop blaming the pump. The evidence is overwhelming. The real killer has been that check valve all along. It's time to stop treating the symptom and finally go cure the disease.